Hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. We're going to watch a trailer today, as is the deal on my channel, though it's going to be a trailer from a little bit ago, but the show is coming out on the 15th. So, here we go. We're watching the Last of Us trailer. I guess it came out a month ago. There have been other trailers that came out 3 months ago, so I know I'm a little behind, but reviews are coming out for the show, and I think I'm going to post my reactions on the channel because I enjoyed the first game a lot. I did not play the second. I watched playthroughs and I thought it was okay. The action seemed really cool and I like the characters, but the story was a bit okay. But I really have a soft spot for the first one. So I'm looking forward to seeing this, and I love Pedro Pascal. So let's get into this.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
I ask myself that every day.
So you don't know.
Oh, this looks just out of the game.
Keep going for family.
I'm not family.
No. You're cargo.
Wow, that's from the games too. Oh, this looks good.
Why are you so important?
Somewhere out west. They're working on a cure. I think what really impressed them was the fact that I didn't turn into a monster.
If she so much as twitches.
Is that supposed to be Tess? Because I thought the girl that helps is a black female, so that would be weird.
I'm taking you with me. Do what I say when I say it. Got any advice on the best way west? Yeah, go east. You come this far, then you know what's out there.
Oh, the clicking's so good.
Scare us. Scared him.
He's a very good Joel. Oh, the horses.
You have a greater purpose than any of us could have ever imagined.
There we go. I think she's the head of the Fireflies, or oh, the baby.
Be careful who
Oh, isn't that brother? Oh,
You might not be her father, but you're someone's. You trust me?
at first I didn't like this music choice, but it's haunting and I think it fits really well. Oh, those look good. They look a little chunky. I know there's different types of the clickers and like the growth zombies. I'm blanking on like the proper terminology. It's been a hot minute since I watched the original game. I think I will watch a playthrough again just so I can get as much out of it when the show does debut. Again, people are really liking the show so far, and not all of them have the game background, so this is exciting, I believe. I hope you don't mind that we're also breaking this down. Again, this is an older trailer. You've probably all seen this before. You probably all have heard talk about it before, but I just want to go through it again because I think it's quite good. Sorry I had the subtitles on. I hope those weren't too distraction. Usually I turn those off and then I turn them on for this part, but you know, it actually was nice to read while they were talking. I think a lot of these shots look really good. They really look like they were taken out of the game. She was crossing that beam, and I think that looked really good. The dialogue, the scenery, I think it's all very well set. I don't know how expensive this show was, but I'm quite impressed. So I'm assuming that this is Tess, Joel, and Ellie. Or that's Ellie and that's Tess. And if you guys know, Tess isn't long for this world. But I really enjoyed her as a character. She was a good part of the first act of the game. This is a very iconic scene. I remember just watching playthroughs of the game where like Ellie was just wide out in the open, but like we're hitting and we're like, Ellie, get back here. But the clickers weren't going after her. So, you know, that was funny for the first game. Those are just like small moments that sort of stick out. But I remember these scenes being really tense and really cool and atmospheric. So I'm excited to see those here too. Oh, it's just the movement is very good as well. So this must be early in the beginning. I believe they race spent his daughter, which is an interesting choice. I don't mind it because again, if you know the games, you know that we do not see the daughter ever again. I wonder how they'll play the show. Like if they'll go beat by beat like the game. Because we start off with Joel, like everything's going a mess. The outbreak has happened and he has to escape the town with his daughter. And that's clearly what this scene is. I wonder if it'll start out here or if that will be trickled in as the show goes on, just to build up suspense for people who do not know the game. But I think for people who do know the game, how will they react to that sort of setup? I'm hoping that they are pretty loyal to like the beats of the game. Though then again, if they were so loyal, there would be no reason to watch this show, because you could just go and play the game and do the same thing. And that game's very cinematic, so while you're playing, it'll still feel like a great experience. I know that for a fact. I played it. It was fun. I don't know how they're gonna play this. I think they're gonna do some different things. I think they're gonna, add maybe more fluff to replace the gameplay elements. Adaptations of video games can be tricky. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. So I believe that's his daughter, because that's the only other person we really see in this flashback. And he is protecting her. I'm blanking on her name. I think it was Sarah. It was like a no name. No, you're cargo. This is very much like the game. I found that really interesting. This is just, it looks so, I know a lot of this is just CG, whatever, and they just they got this real shot of like panning over a bridge, and then they just edited it to look run down and bleak and a post-apocalyptic. But they did a really good job, and I like feel it. It just feels so much like the game. I'm very impressed. I forget the name of I guess it's just like the government, but they're very strict about, I believe, like checkpoints and safety zones in the game. Again, it's been a hot minute. I remember having to did we have to lie about checkpoints? And then we had to sort of like go around areas. So I wonder how much we'll see of the government. I'm hoping we focus more on the Fireflies, because they were the more interesting activist group. We didn't really get to see much of the Fireflies until the very end of the game, so I'd like to see them a bit more present in the show, because they're really interesting in the first game, because they're alluded to mostly. Again, this looks so much like the games. It's just amazing. This movement, even the way we're sort of like third person in this shot, it feels so much like the game. I really appreciate it. I'm surprised her mark on her arm isn't more distinctly like a bite. It looks a lot more just like a rash almost. Okay, there's some teeth marks right there. Okay, so that helps. And it has stopped. I wonder if they do make a season 2 of the series, if they will touch on The Last of Us 2 premises in that second season, or if we'll stay more closely to the events of this game/series. I hope that made sense, because there's a time skip between The Last of Us 1 and 2 games, but I would like to see more Joel and Ellie hanging out, surviving, bonding. That's what really drew me in with the first game. So if they did do a season 2, I hope they don't do a crazy time skip. Or if they do, they just go a touch ahead and not full ahead to the moments that lead up to The Last of Us 2. I appreciate her humor. That's very much Ellie. Ashley Johnson did an amazing job voicing Ellie. She brought so much life and charisma and snark that I so greatly appreciated. I loved Ellie in the games. I think this actress is doing a good job so far. I'm looking forward to seeing this Tess, though. There's a part of me that you could have gotten a perm. She had curly hair from what I remember, but maybe she looked too similar to Ellie because her hair is a little curly, but that makes sense. Yeah, okay. I appreciate that. She's funny, and she knows when things, she knows when to tone it down and to be serious, because we're living in serious times. I need to watch this show, Chernobyl. My boyfriend watched it and he loved it, so I feel like maybe I should check that out just to get atmosphere and tone cues from the director and writer of Chernobyl to see if that will be reflected in this show. God, I have a lot to do. This is very interesting. I believe this is when we meet up with the two brothers. I'm assuming that's where this is. Unless this is where Tess and Joel have been living. This is part of their hideout. This is, it's just ripped from the game, and I love it. I love it. This looks so good. Look at this. This immediately, I'm like, I know that's Ellie. I know that's Joel. I know that's Tess. It's just, this is extra creepy. I don't really remember this from the game. Again, I'll rewatch it before diving in to the first episode, I promise. But this is a very spooky element. It's giving me Welcome to Raccoon City Resident Evil movie vibes, which I thought it was fine. It was fine. I had a good time because of the references, but it wasn't that great of a movie. But I feel like I did prefer it over the previous Resident Evil movies. And then I know the TV show on Netflix was shit. So, I don't know how much you want to associate. And again, here's the military scoping out scenes. They're probably looking for instances of people getting infected or showing stuff. There's a Firefly logo that it seems like they crossed out. We the people. Or maybe that's not a Firefly logo. Maybe that's just the government. Because this looks like it says, fuck you. And you know what? Yeah, the government has not been doing a great job. And they're very cruel. And I get it. It's crazy times, panic is everywhere. You don't want to have the infection spread. You have your quarantine zones. People need to follow the rules, but like, this is also very much the games. I remember those like concrete separators. Oh, this is stunning. I'm very excited to see them leave the city. As much as I love how decrepit and post-apocalyptic the city elements are and overgrown, and there are very cool cinematic and gameplay elements that I love from the game that feature the city, the outdoors is also just like a beautiful element of the game. And I hope we get to spend a good chunk of time here. I'm excited to see these views because, it's just so beautiful. Like, look at this. It's stunning. Like, I wonder where they filmed. You in Canada. Oh, the snow. I love snow in video games. The God of War Ragnarok game had beautiful snow elements that, like, made it feel like you were there. I feel like The Last of Us had those elements too, but I love snow in video games, so I hope that, and I love snow. I like it immediately. I don't like any of the snow afterwards because then it gets sleet and slush and ice and ew. But this is just, I love it. It's so pretty. Like, oh, look at this. This is also giving me Quiet Place vibes. This looks exactly like the bridge where they were quietly going back and then they drop the rocket and then one of the kids dies in A Quiet Place. Sorry, spoilers for that movie. There's been a sequel, you know the deal, so don't be too mad. But this looks exactly the same. But I love that it's like they're able to, if this is the exact same place, they're able to disguise it by making it snowy and it's we have Joel and Ellie. It's very exciting. I like that line. I don't remember that character exactly. Again, they're probably expanding on smaller moments to differentiate this show from the game. But I like that line. Yeah, go east. Like, don't. So that's funny. And then you can see here, biological contamination area, do not proceed. The FEDRA, Federal Disaster Response Agency. So they're clearly heading into like clicker territory. I'm surprised that gate's just open. Oh, he has to fix his shoe. Did he break? I'm sorry. This is very pretty. I don't remember seeing a lot of nighttime scenes in the outdoors, so I'm excited to see that. I love this is also very much like the games, like the decrepit house with like these pockets of moss and like contamination. I wonder how many times they'll be wearing the mask because they seem to not be wearing them here, but they did have instances in the game where you needed to put on like a gas mask, at least earlier on. With Ellie being immune, she was fine, but I believe Joel had to wear a mask. I really like her as Ellie. She's not like directly ripped from the game, but I think she's doing a really good job. Scared him. He's like, shit, what did I get myself into? I'm starting to really like this girl because I have a dead daughter and now she's here and I really like her now. And she feels like a daughter. I love Joel. He's so complex and interesting and he's just a good guy. Oh, I'm so excited. Look at the snow. I wonder if this is part of Joel's brother's team. I believe his name was Tom, was it? I need to rewatch it, but this also could be, they get like cornered by some cannibals at one point, or not cannibals, they're just like crazies. Because, you know, everyone deals with trauma and end of times very differently. And this group, I think they at first try to help, but then they show like their nefarious ways. They try to like do weird shit to Ellie. It's pretty dark. So I wonder how much they'll tap into that here. I don't know what this show is rated. I'm assuming, is it MA? Can they get that rating? I'm assuming it's not like NC-17, because that's more racy. But this is the Firefly leader I was thinking of. So I'm glad she's still here. I feel bad. That's a lot to put on Ellie. And again, if you know the games, you know that her purpose and all this pressure leads to her having to give up her own life because she cannot survive with them extracting the cure. Like, I think they have to like go into her brain or something, or her heart. There's like something, they have to take so much out of her that she could not physically survive. And if you know the end of the game, you know that she does survive and move on to the second game. I won't say why, but if you know the game, you know why. But you know, it sucks. And I'm assuming these are all, I wonder why they're rioting, because they seem happy about something. Maybe they like got rid of like a big populace of clickers, I'm not sure. Or maybe people escaped. Maybe they're part of the Fireflies, I'm not sure. I don't remember. Oh, maybe there was a pregnant woman in The Last of Us. I'm thinking maybe of like the Walking Dead games too. I didn't watch The Walking Dead, but I liked the video games. And, you know, like this is a very interesting moment to have in these sort of shows because you're giving life and it's such a beautiful thing, but you're also like, what am I bringing my child into? Like, there's a lot of trauma, and it seems crazy to have a child here, but it's also like a small moment of hope. Or maybe we're seeing a backstory to when Ellie was born, and maybe that's her mom. I don't know. I don't know the story. Then I almost looks like Ashley Johnson, actually. I want to look at the cast. I always forget to look at the cast beforehand, and I apologize. I hope you guys don't mind. I find Ashley Johnson is in this. She's the third listed. Also, I believe that's her. Oh, okay. I know this is going to be a good show now because, wow, they brought in Ashley. Oh, yes. Okay, this makes me really happy. Yay. Very exciting. Okay, so I think Bill is Joel's brother, I believe. It could also be Frank. A lot of these people don't have last names except for the Miller family. Or is it Josiah? Oh my god, there's so many people in this show. What has Bella Ramsey been in previously? She looks so familiar. She was in Game of Thrones. She was the youngest daughter of one of the, not the Starks, but she had she was up north, and I remember she had a really cool outfit. Okay, that's where I'm remembering her from. She was very impactful on Game of Thrones. Ooh, very cool to see this inside of the mall. It's kind of giving me Stranger Things vibes. Especially with how old Bella Ramsey's Ellie is. And, the lighting. It almost looks like the Upside Down. That's kind of cool. I wonder... This seems, dangerous to turn on all the lights. But I guess, Joel's, trying to teach Ellie about how things used to be. Blah, blah, blah. Because that's sort of how they bond. They're able to sort of just talk. Find out they have a lot in common. They bond over music and stuff. So, this is probably going to be really cute. But I feel like it could be really dangerous. And maybe they're looking for heating as well. But, turning on lights and having electricity in this area could bring out clickers and other beasties that you don't want. And even some, savage people. This is really cute. Because finally Ellie gets to have, a friend around her age and have fun. It looks like she got punched in the eye. Hope you're good. Now that's not Nick Offerman. This is Murray Bartlett, and he's playing Frank. Again, I need to get the names right again, but I think Frank could be the brother. It might also be Bill. I promise I'll know when I watch the show and watch the game again. Correct me down below. It's fine. See, because that looks, I don't know. I don't know what's going on between these two. I need to watch the game again. It is a great game. I would not mind watching it again. Oh, they're the brothers. I remember they had a very, heart-wrenching plot thread, and... Should I say I'm looking forward to it? I'm looking forward to it because it was so impactful, but it was quite sad. So, there's gives and takes. Ugh, just seeing that house on fire. Very cinematic and pretty. I wonder who that is. That's not Ashley Johnson. That looks like that could be... Oh, that's probably Tess when she sacrificed herself. Anna Torv? Who's shining the light? Oh, it's just some military guy. This could be... Ooh. Well, I think Ellie is here. Yeah, that's Ellie. So this could be... before they meet up with the Firefly head lady. And this also could be... That also could be a cut of a flashback where I believe a soldier is also the cause of Joel's daughter's death. Or I believe she just dies in his arms. It's really traumatic. You may not be her father, but you were someone's. And it's yep, there's a lot of dad trauma. Yep, here's the scene. I remember that pickup truck. Ooh, that opening to that game, still has such a... It just such a core element and opening. It really just sets the tone. You actually play, for those of you who don't know, you initially play the game as Joel's daughter. And then you transition into the cinematics and you find out that she dies. And you're on this crazy chase. You're with Joel and his brother and trying to escape while this mayhem's happening. Clickers and zombie people are everywhere. It's so tense and it's just ugh. It's such a good opening. It really sticks with you. So he might be one of the crazies. I don't know. Though, that does look like Joel. So, that could be his brother. Having a hard time remembering. That also could be Bill and Frank. Because I think they were friends. I think they're part of the same sort of Resistance West area. And yeah, that's really, this shit's really tense in the games. Love that shit. This looks like it's early on, again, where we see Joel with his daughter. This is the Bad Bunch. Not the Star Wars Bad Bunch, but they're the crazies. I remember this too. This scene with this sort of, I remember these types of, I don't know what they're called. They're shelving, but not. They're things you can hang stuff on. And yeah, this person's clearly infected. You could see the formation on their head, which sucks. And this is a scarier clicker. Ooh. Again, I love the sequence in this building in particular. I'm looking forward to it a lot. It's gonna be early on in the show. Oh, I love how they show the logo. It's very much like the game. This is also a pretty cool shot. I love seeing one of the big boys. I don't remember all the terminology for the different types of clickers. I think clickers is just a subset of the fungus infected beings. There's the people who look more like zombies are the ones who just have sort of the head that click, and then there's these big boys that are tough cookies in the game. It'll be exciting to see them. I feel like you really only see them in the city segments. I could be wrong because I feel like once you get outside the game you see clickers, but I feel like you're dealing more with people, and then once you transfer back into city elements you get to see these sort of beings again. I guess because they were the most populated, so they're the most impacted by the infection. God, that looks good. I'm just blown away. I really, again, I have a really soft spot for the first game. I think has stunning visuals, great storytelling, great characters and action, and just like, the atmosphere is so cool. And I'm usually not like into zombies. I never really got into The Walking Dead. I liked Zombieland, the movie. I never saw the second actually, but I feel like zombies became really tiresome by the time like this game came around. But they did something different, I believe. Again, people really like The Walking Dead, and they have a lot of family elements there, but just focusing on Joel and Ellie, I think, and like the cinematics they see. I'll never forget the giraffe scene. If you know, you know. It was so impactful and just wonderful, and I felt so connected to these characters. So I'm looking forward to seeing them brought to life in the HBO Max series. Are you planning on watching it? I don't know what they're doing. I'm assuming since they are premiering it on HBO, they're doing a weekly release like with House of the Dragon. So I'm looking forward to watching these episodes. I wonder if they'll do a 2-episode drop at the beginning or if they're just going to do one and then the next. I think these visuals look amazing. I'm looking forward to it a lot. I love Pedro Pascal. I have complete faith in him. What did you guys think? Are you excited to see the adventures of Joel and Ellie? Let me know your thoughts on it down below. Did you play the game? Do you like what you're seeing here? Do you like how faithful it is? Are you looking forward to seeing some innovation and new plot threads develop in this show? Because it can't just be a 1-for-1. That would be boring because, again, the game exists. So let me know your thoughts on that below as well. You probably just watched my reaction to the Last of Us trailer, and I know I'm like a little behind. It is almost Sunday again. It's Friday right now, so we're already approaching episode 2. So I just wanted to talk briefly about the first episode and how much I really enjoyed it. I think it's incredibly loyal to the game, which I found surprising. The only thing that isn't completely loyal is the fact that spores aren't a problem, because now it just seems to be that in order for you to get infected, you have to ingest like the tendrils of the spore of the mushrooms and also get bitten. So you can't just like breathe it in and get infected like in the games. Like, so I think it's because they didn't want to put gas masks over their actors who are pretty big names. Pedro Pascal already has to wear a mask in Mandalorian. Why put him in another one? I think that's kind of considerate for him. And also maybe there'd be a problem with like audio and having to like re-record dialogue, so they didn't want to worry about it. And besides, you want to see them like emoting with their face and not just their actions. So I don't mind, though it doesn't really make as much sense. Like there's that scene. We're going to talk about spoilers for the first episode at least. So hope you don't mind. Spoilers. Anyway, the fact that they were standing so close to the guy who was like spored into the wall, I thought was a little silly looking, because it's like you don't want to get like, you're very casually close to it. And like, yes, the reaction that the actress of Tess had to like seeing him, I thought was really good. It just seemed a little silly. And I think also the difference in the game, I have not watched a playthrough of the game. Like I said, I watched like a recap with like a lot of the information, but I believe in the first game there was a segment where you are with Joel and Tess and you go after Robert for stealing the battery of the car and giving it to someone else. So I think there was like a shootout scene from what I recall. But I think because there's such a militaristic aspect to the show, they're like, it wouldn't make sense because the government or even Fireflies would have been on their asses for like shooting out people. So I think they cut out that segment for a good reason, and also because there was a kind of a heavy gameplay element, and I think they blended it so that you just see the carnage between the Fireflies and Robert's team. Like the aftermath of it when you meet up with Marlene, I thought was still pretty well thought out. So that was cool. I hope that people liked Sarah. I know they race bended her, but I think she did such a good job. She also like emoted really well. There's something about her like doe eyes almost. I was like, oh my God, this is Sarah. And she even has like the same t-shirt. She just really was very impactful in watching our journey with her. I think my only problem with the Sarah was that she was listening to the news where they were giving like the national security alert, and then she immediately went outside. And yes, I know Mercy was there and she was like, I'm gonna return you, but I'm like, as soon as you realize the dog ran off, you want to go back inside. Like, I wish there was just something else to sort of rationalize it. Also, it's weird how, well, we don't know how long it took for the neighbors to turn. We obviously saw Grandma doing the ah in the background when Sarah was over at the house not eating the cookies. But we saw that as when Joel and Tommy meet up with Sarah to get out of there, we already see that the neighbors had turned and were attacking, I I think the neighbor when they came to check on them, because I think Joel hit them in order to escape in the car. Or I think Tommy did. It was a really powerful scene, and the tendrils in the mouth of like the mushroom were disturbing, very gross. The stunt person who had like, I'm assuming the old lady makeup. I don't think there was a senior doing that kind of stunt work. If it was, then good job. I'm assuming it's a stunt person, but they handled the movement quite well. And also, shout out to the stunt guy when they were in the city, and I think they lost their car, and it's just Sarah and Joel. They got separated from Tommy, and he just sort of like springs up, and then he just runs after them, and he sold like the clumsiness and the ferocity really well. I really enjoyed it. What else to talk about? I think people are mad that Bella Ramsey doesn't look like Ellie, but there isn't really an actress, I don't think, that would have suited the role that looks like her. I think Bella Ramsey really channels the personality and even like sounds like Ellie. Like her accent's really good. She's a British actress. Even the actress of Sarah is British, and I had no idea. They both really worked well to hide their accent. I was really impressed. I will say her forehead's a little distracting. That's my only like quip, and it's only distracted because my boyfriend kept pointing out, he kept calling it a 5 head, and I was like, that's mean, don't be mean. I watched Game of Thrones, he did not, so I appreciate Bella Ramsey's acting prowess, and I think she's doing a really good job as Ellie so far. So I'm excited to see more of her, and I hope that people rally behind her, because I think she's going to be really good going forward. And I'm excited to see her like do some action scenes. As we see in the game, she is quite capable, so I'm looking forward to that. It was cool that Marlene's actress was the mocap person for the original game. I thought that was really cool. She has good acting as well. She was a little pretty, maybe, for Marlene. I don't know. That's more of a compliment, I think. I hope it comes off as a compliment. She's very pretty. I felt like I don't know how capable she was as a leader, but I really liked that moment where she's like sitting down with Ellie. There's like lead-ins to like Marlene sending her to that government school, which I'm looking forward to seeing. I did not know until right before I watched the show that there is DLC for the original game involving Ellie and this girl named Riley, who will show up again, I believe, and Marlene referenced by name in the first episode. So I'm excited to see that, because I think people were like, whoa, it's weird that Ellie is like gay in the second game, but I'm like, oh, there was DLC to sort of show that she was interested in women initially. I feel like that was a main complaint for Last of Us Part 2, or I just saw like that sort of chatter initially. I think people got over it, aside from the fact that like it was sad, her story in the second game. I can't speak on that much because I didn't play that game. I played the first one, and then I watched some playthroughs of the second one, and I did not enjoy it as much. So I'm curious if this show does get a season 2, if they'll encapsulate everything that happened in the Last of Us first game in this one season, or if it's all completed in this one season, will the second season do the like 5-year time skip and play into the second game's storyline, or if we'll take like a season to do the in-between, or maybe a couple episodes to do the in-between the two games, because I would like to see that, because I think the jump, I just don't really enjoy time skips that much. And yes, I know this game initially and the show start with a large time skip of 20 years. I would have liked to have seen Joel probably in his prime to become this like almost monstrous fighter. Like Robert fears him for a reason. And when Tess is like being held captive by him for the first scene that we see her in, he's like, don't send your dog on me. Like, you have to promise me he won't come after me. And she makes that promise, but she's like, no, I'll let you kill him. It's fine. It gave a lot more ferocity to Joel, because I think in the games he was a little softer. Like, he was definitely like a hard ass, but I feel like it's really showing how much losing Sarah has hurt him, and it's still affecting him. Like the fact that he was getting held up by gunpoint at the end of the episode while a young girl who's around the same age as Sarah was behind him really helped him to like unleash and kill that military guy that he initially had like a semi-good relationship with. That was interesting. I will say the only thing I didn't like about the first episode was how it ended. We kind of skip over the fact, we just sort of see like Joel internalizing everything he's went through while Ellie and Tess are like kind of arguing in the background about her being infected or not infected, but the radar detector showing that she's infected while she is in fact immune. I wish that was sort of focused on more, because I feel like for people who have no background in the game, that seems like something that you should have harbored on, but they didn't. They just sort of had it, it's like, whatever, we're going. Maybe in the second episode they'll talk about it more. but it seemed strange to not reflect on it since that is such a key element to the show and the game. I think those are my first thoughts. If there's anything I missed, please let me know. I'm looking forward to seeing the other characters, Bill and Frank. I'm excited to see more of Marlene. I hope we do see more of her. I feel like she's just gonna kind of come back in the last maybe 2 episodes, or maybe even the last episode, if I can remember how the game pans out. I don't believe we see her again until we get to the Fireflies and Marlene's like, good job, take her to surgery. I think the show has so much potential. I appreciate how loyal it is to the game. I appreciate how immersive it is. It is a bit of a bummer that the spores do not play an element, so it feels almost as if the uniqueness of the diseased, infected people have been more reduced to just simple zombies with a mushroom sort of aesthetic. But I think in the second episode, we are supposed to see the clickers, and I'm excited to see how the show progresses. I have a lot of hope. I love Pedro Pascal. I really like Bella Ramsey. I really like the actress that plays Tess. I do not recall her name off the top of my head, but I found her performance really good. She has like the really roughness of Tess from the game, but maybe we'll also see some softness. I will say I like that they developed this sort of Tess-Joel relationship. It's not exactly romantic, but it's more physical, and they kind of need it. They kind of need to have this partnership, camaraderie to survive in order to like have a semblance of their humanity intact, because of what their jobs entail makes it so they're really like hardened and just sad. So I kind of liked that they had like the tender moment where he was like, what happened to your face? And he like helps her out, and then Tess is able to sort of like reason with him. And I'm looking forward to seeing that more, though at the same time, because I know what happens to Tess in the games, it's going to be even more of a gut punch that Joel has this connection with her. And we don't even really get information on Joel's first wife. The fact that he keeps losing a lot of the women in his life kind of sucks. And I wonder how that'll be portrayed on the show further. Let me know your thoughts on the first episode. Are you looking forward to the rest of the season? And what was your favorite moment? Do you like how loyal it is to the game? And do you like the changes they've made so far? Or are you worried about more changes to come? Because I believe there are supposed to be more, according to the reviews and the screeners given out to press early. They got the first 4 episodes, and there are changes to come. So let me know your thoughts down below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video.